Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I am here to answer your questions. I have just sent you guys all the link and posted it. So today we're answering the questions on, let's see here. So, what did I do? This is working, right? Yes, this is working. Okay. Oh, somebody's here. Thank you. It's working. Oh, okay. Awesome. So let me find your questions here from that we are going to answer today. It was from the post that I posted with Post Your Weekly Questions here for March 1st of 2020. Okay. So I'm just going to start here from the beginning. So Miss White 25 is the first question that I'm going to answer. Just before I do that, how is everybody today? I hope everybody's okay. Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling amazing. And just to let you guys know that, everything that I'm going to help you with and answer your questions in this video is coming from a place of helping you and wanting you to succeed. So, oh my goodness, you woke up at 1:30 in India. Oh my goodness. Aw. Thanks. Well, it is recorded, so you can always watch it later. Yeah, so everything I share is coming from a place of, wanting you guys to be successful and to help you, okay? So let's get started here. We're going to start with Miss White 25's post, okay? So she wasn't able to make it to the live call, but she does have a video suggestion. Can you explain what it means by getting into perfect alignment with your desires? This idea trips me out the same way that people talk about good vibes. Like, seriously, WTF does that truly mean? I understand. I used to feel the same way when I first started the law of attraction. All I hear other LOE teachers saying is that you have to get into alignment, but they don't always explain it in simple terms. Aside from my vibe must match the vibe of my desire, they always make it seem like it's perfect nirvana zen state. But I call BS because I've seen plenty of people manifest stuff and definitely aren't in alignment or chi or being zen, right? No, you're not overanalyzing this concept, actually. You know what? That is just, I love this question because it's okay. So let's break this down a little bit. Let's talk about what good vibes are. So vibes are basically thoughts. Okay. So your thoughts actually vibrate in the subconscious of your mind and they make the mirror of your subconscious mind vibrate, which shoots out to whoever else, right? Whether it's a specific person or general bunch of people. And that thought that you shoot out makes their mind vibrate. And that's how everyone is you pushed out works. Okay. So being in the right vibe for an alignment for what you want is basically having your thoughts match what you want. Okay, so this is tying in with living from the end, which is actually going to answer a lot of your guys' questions because I know there is some living in the end questions here, and all of you guys have to live from the end of what you want. Okay, so alignment of what you want is basically living from the end of what you want. Okay. So a really good example of that in a relationship is you should propose to you in one of these videos. And I'm like, oh yeah, good idea. Right. So I was just out in the kitchen before I came to do this video. And I said to Andrew, I said, yeah, everyone loves the other channel. And I said, and you know what? Somebody said that you should propose to me in one of the videos. And he started laughing and he said, yeah, right. That isn't happening. And I was like, you liar. Of course it's gonna. And then I came in here. So right there, that was me living from the end of being in a relationship and being married. Okay. The reason why it was, and I was in alignment with it because what was happening is I didn't get upset, hurt, and rejected and started getting and reacting. Okay. If I would have gotten all upset and been like, well, what, we live together. Why don't you want to marry me? What's your problem? Like, what, are you just using me? Okay. Now all of a sudden I'm living from the end of rejection. Okay. Because I didn't let his comment bother me. And I was like, yeah, you're joking. I'm like, yeah, of course you're going to marry me, buddy. Like, I'm automatically assuming and living from the end. Because when you believe and you assume and you know something's going to happen, if somebody says, oh, it's not going to happen, you're like, oh, you're just teasing me. You take it as a joke. Like, I totally took it as a joke. It was like money anxiety because having anxiety and worry over money is living from the end of being broke. Because if you were broke, you would have anxiety and you would be worried about money. But if you were rich, won the lottery, you would not worry or have any anxiety over money whatsoever. That's being in alignment with being a billionaire, is having all your thoughts which are your vibrations in line with what you want. So your constant question is, okay, if I was married to my specific person, if that's what your goal is, what would my thoughts be? Well, my thoughts would be that they want to be with me, they'll forgive me, da 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 da. So, for instance, let's tie that into somebody else's question about getting into contact with somebody that's been over a year, and basically it ended with them saying, forget it, I never want to talk to you again, never contact me. Okay, so if we're going to live from the end, okay, and do a revision on that particular breakup, we would actually look at it and we would say, okay, if I was back together with the person, what would my thoughts be about that past breakup? Well, easy. You know what? They said they never wanted to talk to me again. No problem. You know what? They were mad. They didn't mean it. They just said some things in the heat of the moment they didn't mean, and they really do want to be with me. They realize that they made a mistake and want to be with me, and we're back together. Okay. So that's what living from the end is. And that's what being in alignment with what you want is. Okay. So basically, right, if I'm going to live from the end of being in a happy relationship and married with Andrew, and he says, no, I don't want to marry you, then, it's not going to be a big fight. If there's a big fight, I'm living from the end of rejection. But if I'm living from the end of being married, I'm going to say, well, yeah, you know what? He's just not ready yet, but I intend for him to be ready. And it's all totally okay because it is actually going to happen. Okay. So does that clear that up with that? Oh, Stephanie, you booked with Erica for this evening. She's amazing. We're gonna love it. She's absolutely amazing. She honestly is. She honestly is. Guys, everyone's meeting 7:12. Okay. So answer. Answer first. I'll put first question I answered. Question I answered. Because somebody asked me to do this, so they knew where their question was, and I thought it's a good idea. Okay, so okay, Foxy M. Hello, Amanda. I look forward to your live. So do I. My question is, I've been manifesting a specific person for a while, and I haven't even manifested a text message. And I intend and imagine and stay on a mental diet. I don't even hardly think about him anymore, but I'm clueless on what I'm doing wrong in manifesting him. Whenever he does come to my mind now, I say something like, I'm so happy we're together. He loves to talk to me, etc. And I'll manifest signs I'm not looking for, but I can't even seem to manifest him even messaging me. Please tell me what, if anything, I'm doing wrong. I always think I'm doing it right and time is irrelevant to manifest, but surely I'm doing something that's stopping it from fully manifesting, going on a couple of years. Okay, so yeah, okay, so there's a lot of things. Like, you didn't put a lot of blocks in here for me to go with. Do you have a history with them? Have you never had a history with them? Have you had relationships before? Have you not had relationships before? My thing is, right, is, when we look at it this way, are you nervous to contact the person? Okay, because if you're nervous to contact them because you're scared that they're going to reject you, they're actually never going to message you. Okay, I'm just going out on a limb here. So I'm going to say that, okay, questioning, why it's not happening yet, questioning if they like you, that's 100% a block. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that your story about that other person is in an alignment. So basically matching with what you want. Okay. So, for instance, they want to be with you. They like you. They can't wait to talk to you. They always pay attention to you. You may also want to start with some smaller things, like you hear friends saying this person likes you, so start, putting other intentions in there. But your story about that person is, you can't question what they think about you. You have to 100%, because there you pushed out, say that they like you. Now, the other part of it is, how do you feel about you? Do you have any insecurities? I mean, do you think that, you're worthy enough for them to like you? Do you feel like you're good enough for them to like you? Are you confident? Okay. So confidence is the biggest thing here. Okay. Now, the other thing is what I was talking about just before I went into that was, are you nervous to contact them? Now, you don't have to reach out and contact them. You can manifest them texting you, but you can only manifest them texting you if you're comfortable texting them. Okay. So you don't have to text them. If you're nervous and you say, well, I don't want to text them because I'm kind of scared that they're going to reject me. Guess what? You've just built rejection into the story. They're not going to text you now. They have to reject you. Okay, so I'm scared. I don't want to text them. I'm scared they're going to reject me. I intend for them to text me. That's complete block. That's now canceled each other out. The scared and the nervousness has actually blocked them sending you the message. So you got to talk yourself out of that nervousness. That may not be the block here, but I mean, it might actually be. So check into it. I mean, is that what sort of is, kind of going there? Okay, so that was actually, I answered that at about, say, 8 minutes, maybe. It was 7 minutes. It was 7 minute mark. I answered this. Okay, so basically, a little bit more there, Foxy, is take a look. Like, I mean, again, why aren't you reaching out to them? Okay, the other thing that you may want to do to find out what your blocks are is write down all the reasons why you don't think it's happened yet. Okay, and when you have all those reasons written down, change those into positive intentions. Okay, so the reason is I can't tell you what your block is here. I mean, I have a gut feeling, and you're me pushed out, that you're nervous and scared. That's why that's not coming in the other way. Like, that's a very common thing. Like, I mean, I've been doing coaching for many years now, and that's always the most common thing that stops the message coming in. Because honestly, if your thoughts create, and you don't even have to intend that a person messages you, you just think about them, and that essence of them and your thought of them actually goes and gets them to message you. I mean, I just mentioned somebody's name and I don't even think about them messaging me specifically, and then they message me or contact me somehow. Okay, so you want to make sure the lines are clear there, but you want to find your blocks. Your blocks are your thoughts. And if you're not sure what your thoughts are, check in with your feelings. If you're feeling nervous, if you're feeling scared, if you're feeling anxiety, that's you're not holding thoughts in there that are going to help you to get that text in. You want to feel neutral, natural. So also work on your self-confidence. So I have more questions there to try to find your block. But what we do here in this forum is I'll give you the tools to help you find your own block. So no more questioning, and work on your, confidence, your self-love, and work on your story about the other person that they do want to talk to you. And then, also write down everything you think that it's not, why it's not happening, all your negative thoughts, and then switch them into those positive intentions. Okay. So any thought that you have, like, question, why isn't he messaging me yet? What does he think about me? Okay, those two are blocks right there. Okay, so there's some thought that you're having somewhere that's blocking this, right? Claudia, awesome. Hi, Claudia, you're new, so we appreciate having you here. And I'm going to start answering your question at 13:07. 13:07. I answered your question. Look at that. I'm assuming I'm going to answer it. So is it possible to manifest for others? Yes. Is using everyone as pushed out? Absolutely. So my boyfriend's been job hunting, and I really want him to have a specific job that he interviewed for. How can I make sure that he gets a specific job? So I intend that my boyfriend gets this job. I'm so happy that I can hear him telling me he got this job. So throw everything on it. So basically create the conversation that you have with him about him getting the job, create that, the scene, like basically you can script out like, oh, I'm so happy and grateful. We're going out to dinner tonight to celebrate because he got the job at this place. And he said this, and that he was the best candidate. So put as many, intentions and as much detail in there as possible. That way it shines through. Okay. So yeah, you can manifest for others in your reality, and everyone is you pushed out. Okay. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Okay. That's what we do too here as coaches. We manifest for all of you guys. We intend that all of you guys are going to be successful as well. Right. So hello, Amanda. Oh, sorry, one sec here. So Legendary Chaser, when are we answering your video? We're gonna at 14:37. 14:37. Okay, so what do we got? So I wanted to manifest new, stronger teeth. I had a huge soda problem when I was younger, and it hurt my enamel a lot. I know dentists and scientists say that enamel doesn't have any living cells, but I know it's possible. And what would you recommend that I do? Okay, so 100% what I recommend is this book. Make sure that you're seeing it. It's called The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. 100% highly recommend this book. Reason for that is because this book, he goes into how to heal your body with your mind. Okay. And he brings a lot of good examples, and it basically will reprogram your mind for you to believe that your mind can heal you. So, I mean, again, some of your, intentions would be, my teeth can heal themselves, my enamel's grown back stronger. You can even intend that maybe you find the toothpaste that, restores your enamel. Actually, I was just thinking about that the other day about my enamel, and then Sensodyne had a commercial saying it actually builds enamel back, and I actually really like Sensodyne toothpaste. It works really, really well. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll buy that, right? So you can intend to, you know, what is actually out there will help you. Okay, so yeah, so definitely highly recommend that book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. I'll write that in here. Conscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. By Joseph Murphy. Really excellent book. Read it over and over and over again. Okay. So the next one we're going to answer here at 1649, we'll say. 1649 is going to be Bridget's question. So definitely what Miss White 25 said, getting on alignment, being in a God state. I'm realizing that in order to get my specific person, financial freedom, other things, I first need to work on myself and being in the God state so I can create and attract anything easily and not let the 3D or any mistakes get me out of that. I struggle with sometimes feeling powerful and on top of the world and then crashing because it didn't show up as I wanted or I reacted. It takes me a while to get back into that God state, knowing no matter what, it's mine and it's okay. Anything that you can give us on your opinion and explanation of the God state and alignment would be amazing. I'm not sure if I can make the live, but I'll watch it later. Oh, awesome. Okay. So basically, yes, I forgot to answer this in Miss White's as well, is the, you don't have to be in a good mood to actually manifest anything in your reality. I remember one day I got this this prescription from the doctor. I was just devastated too. And I came downstairs to the our suite that we live in here in the house, and I left the prescription up in the car. And I really didn't want to go back up. Like our driveway is it's like a steep hill, right? So I really didn't want to walk back up the driveway. And I remember I was completely crying and then just in a bad mood over this whole entire prescription thing to begin with. And I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, I don't want to go back up the driveway. I'm like, I wish Andrew would grab my prescription. Well, all of a sudden, right, I was putting on my shoes, and Andrew was in our room. He was getting his suit on and stuff, getting ready for work. And all of a sudden, and the door was closed, and I heard him yell, hey, he's like, don't worry, I'll get your prescription on my way out to work. And I was like, oh my goodness. So there's a really good example of when I was crying, absolutely upset over my health, but yet I still manifested him getting my prescription. So you don't need to be in a good mood to manifest, okay? But you can't be in a bad mood and crying over what you want to manifest, okay? So basically what I'm saying is yeah, you can be crying over money and then you can still manifest a specific person. You just can't be crying over the specific person. So you have to be in a neutral, natural state about what you're manifesting. But you can be upset about another area of your life as long as it's not connected to what you want to manifest, okay? So you do have to be in a neutral, natural state about what you want to manifest. Now, the God state, okay? You don't need to be in the God state to manifest either, but being in the God state, what you kind of do for the area you want to manifest, but being in the God state is, basically it's a habit. And from that state of mind, you can manifest anything easily and effortlessly and extremely quickly. You can still do it without being in the God state, but you'll get a lot of partial manifestations that'll show up. So getting into the God state looks like this. It's like, well, you know what? So let me think. Okay, so I don't know. I intend, what do I intend? Okay, I intend that Andrew will buy me flowers. Oh, but he's never bought me flowers before. I'll say to myself and be like, well, no. I'm like, everyone's being pushed out. Like, that's great. Of course he's going to buy me flowers. He has no choice. He's being pushed out. He's going to think it's his idea and he's going to go do it. Okay, so that's the God state is, when you have that mental fight with yourself, just by, using the fact that that your thoughts create and everyone is you pushed out, so ending that fight with yourself and being like, okay, seriously, zero doubts, right? So you want to get yourself in that state as much as possible. How do you get yourself in that state? Recall a time that you manifested something that'll get you that feeling and that state back, right? You just talk yourself into the state of mind, if that makes sense. Hmm. Um, yeah, so Tammy, I'll do your question once we get through. Oh, no, I'll do your question now because I'm putting times on everyone else's. Do you have any suggestions on how to deal with indecision? I'm torn between manifesting my original SP and manifesting with a new guy that I recently met. Okay, so I dated more than one guy at once until I decided which one I wanted. Okay, so I think somebody else had this question before. Is can you manifest more than one SP at once? Absolutely. Like once I was dating like 7 guys, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure which one I want yet. So yeah, no, you can manifest them both. But I mean, you know, what's your indecision from? Is your indecision meaning that you know that you're thinking you're going to make the wrong choice because nothing's forever and you end up creating them how you want them to be. So, yeah, I mean, maybe date them both and see which one that you like better. It depends what your indecision's really about, right? But I mean, at some point you would need to make a decision. You can make it so they both want you too. I mean, it's not one or the other, right? And nothing's forever either. So keep that in mind. But maybe write in the notes or in the chat here what the indecision is about because I'm kind of curious. While you're doing that, I'm going to answer the next question at 2203. 03. 03. Okay, this is Kim's question. So, as much as I wanted to ask about my specific person, I figured I'd change the topic. Sure. My boss is total micromanaging moody. I can't stand him. Oh no. We had an argument the other day, and he was like, well, let's take it up with our higher ups. I said, fine. Oh, no. So I went to HR, filed a complaint against him. Okay. And I am trying the whole, he is so understanding and adores me stuff. Honestly, I just want a new job ASAP. I applied to a bunch. I kept saying I am the best option. My question would be one, any other pointers to get a new job ASAP? Two, if I'm not supposed to react to my 3D when he tells me to do stuff, I just say, okay, okay. And should I not go to HR and try to schedule meetings? I was thinking of filing a leave of absence due to his stress. Thanks. Any advice will help. This is hard because my specific person hasn't shown back up yet, and now I'm having issues at work. It's like hard. I'm just trying to look at the good things and be grateful. Okay, so first thing is, right, I mean, you've got to figure out what your plan is here. Okay, so if your plan, okay, so you can definitely create that, you know what, you go to your hires up, you guys basically have like a meeting with HR, and you can intend that this meeting will actually smooth everything over and he'll start being nice to you. Okay, you can create that that's how it's going to happen. Okay, so the thing is about ignoring your reality, it's not about being a doormat at all. Okay, it's about basically creating intentions and changing what you're actually seeing. So it's okay to be like, well, look at, no, I don't appreciate the way that I'm being treated in my workplace, and okay, I'm going to go to HR and I'm going to file a complaint, and then that's actually going to get him to smarten up, or intend that he gets moved to another department or he leaves and finds another job. You don't have to actually create people to get along with you. It's fine. You can intend them to go away as well. It's no big deal. It's up to you which one you want to do. Right now, you don't have to solve this with not going through HR. Basically, right, we live in a 3D world, okay? And sometimes there's a misunderstanding that, okay, look at, if I go to HR and do this whole meeting thing, and then all of a sudden that, like, I'm not manifesting now. No, well, that's not true. You are still manifesting. You're manifesting that this meeting is going to change the situation, okay? So, like, for instance, right, like I had one client, right, wonderful, wonderful woman, and she was looking to get out of debt, okay? And she knows I tell this story. So she says, well, she got an appointment with the credit counselor, like a debt counselor, and she was worried about going to that appointment because that's not really living in the end, and that's focusing on debt. But the funny thing is when she went to that appointment, the debt counselor had a program for people that were in debt with kids of a certain age, and she actually qualified and ended up paying off all of her debts, all of her back payments for her mortgage, given her new appliances, the whole works. Okay, so that meeting of the debt counselor was the manifestation of all the money coming to pay all the debts. Okay. So, you can create things that in situations that are going to bring about what you want. Okay. For instance, right? Okay. Let's go with, say, Gerry. Gerry's got like a drinking problem. Okay. So I can intend Gerry just like all of a sudden become clean and sober tomorrow, but maybe I don't quite believe that in the 3D world. So I can still manifest him becoming clean and sober by saying, well, I intend for Gerry to go to rehab. And when he gets out of rehab, he's going to be clean and sober. Okay. So you can still intend things that are going to make you believe a little bit easier that that's actually going to happen if you don't have the belief that he's just going to wake up tomorrow and decide he's going to quit, or, that, this guy is just going to start being nice to you one day. Okay. Well, if you are going to go to HR and file a complaint and go through that process, intend that that's actually going to work. Okay. Or change your story about him altogether while you're doing that. And then, maybe that's what he needs to wake up. So this is still living from the end, right? As long as you are putting this in there. Sure, if you want to go on a leave of absence due to stress, that would be great. You can do that too. I mean, if it's paid, why not? I mean, you create what you want to create in your reality, right? Basically finding a job quicker. I intend to find a job quickly. I'm very employable, constantly get, job offers. I get the job of my choice. So, you really want to look at that. So, I mean, you can create that. You're just going to go get a new job. Okay. And forget this one, or you're going to keep this one, get him at least being civil, and then still find another job. So, I mean, you got to choose here what your plan is because you create. Okay. If you are going to say, look, I don't care how it happens, I just want to be happy at work. Well, then, you're still creating. And then, you've got to, whatever shows up, you've got to assume that it's going to lead into that. Or you can specifically plan this to say, okay, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to go HR, file a complaint. I'm going to have stress leave. I'm going to go find another job. Or I'm going to go HR, file a complaint. Then he's going to start being nicer. And then I'm going to stay at my job and it's going to be civil and I'm going to be happy and I'm going to stay at that job. Or he's going to start being nice and then I'm going to stay at the job and look for another job while I'm keeping this job. So you can choose how it's going to happen. It's just that you've got to create what your end goal is going to be there. Okay. So, okay, so I think the indecision may come from actually having to physically and emotionally let go and move on from my old SP and put that to bed. Oh, okay. Part of me feels like I'm not quite ready to move on, but then maybe something new is a good way to take attention off of some of my blocks. Oh, okay. So basically you're just like, okay, I'm like, manifesting this guy. It isn't going anywhere. So, but then I'd like to recreate qualities in both. Okay. Man, as conscious creators are never happy. We are. Okay. So I'd feel guilty manifesting them both. Okay. So, yeah. You know what? I mean, I remember I had Ray. This guy I was dating, and it was terrible. Like the relationship wasn't great. It wasn't what I wanted. It was what he wanted and what I created him to want, but it wasn't what I wanted. And I felt bad actually leaving that relationship for Andrew. But you know what? A couple months into my relationship with Andrew, I was actually really happy, and I wish that I left, that old relationship sooner. I mean, it's completely up to you. If you go out and try the new relationship and see how it's like, if nothing's forever, you can always go back to the other one. So if you're not happy, you feel guilty manifesting them both, just a date to see, what who you like better, then try the new one. I mean, but ultimately that's up for you. So, I would probably say, look, I make decisions easily and effortlessly. I know what's right for me. I always make the right decision in my life. Might want to put some of those, intentions in there, but no one can make the decision for you. It's up to you. You can always go with one, like nothing's forever. So maybe that's part of what's causing this is nothing's forever. If things aren't really going anywhere with the old, with your old boyfriend, then maybe if you're having a lot of blocks and resistance there and it's, really you're not happy with that, maybe try out the new one to see where it is. Ultimately, it's up to you. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. It's just your life and it's your choice. Okay. So, so let's go back to the questions here. So, so this will be 30-minute mark for Stephanie Ann's question. 30-minute mark. Minute. Okay, so I totally got in the God state yesterday and totally my self-talk worked. I know it worked big time. A huge manifestation arrived here in the 3D world just from self-talk. Changing the whole story works, and sticking with the No, this is what is happening. Speech is the ticket. Oh, it is. It totally is. Yes, I am a success story, and my next deliberate intention is there as well. I am God. This person has no choice. So my question, okay, because I was like, that's awesome. We're talking good here. So my question, my thoughts create, but as long as I stay on top of the negative that constantly pop up and flip it, that negates it, right? Yeah, pretty much. Still might actually manifest, but chance it might not. Depends what other sort of depends how dominant the negative thought is, but I mean, like for instance, like I can say right now, like, oh, maybe Andrew's like, gonna cheat on me. But like there's so many other stories that block that it wouldn't actually manifest. So I'd be like, no, he's a faithful guy, right? So that negative thought wouldn't actually manifest. But if it was something that I had a lot of like um like a lot of proof for, then it was dominant, then it may actually show up even if you get it, even if you flip it, right? But always flip your thoughts. I flip every thought that comes in. I say I'm God of my reality, and XYZ is happening. It's already happening. Will it show? It will show, which I believe is enough to stop unwanted thoughts from manifesting. Is this correct? Well, yeah. I mean, you have to do that to basically stop your unwanted thoughts from manifesting. Now, will it stop every negative thought from manifesting? Maybe not at first, but after a while of flipping it, that negative thought will stop and it won't manifest. Okay, so there's a lot of factors that go into manifesting a negative thought. So, like I just said, me thinking that Andrew would cheat on me, that's never going to manifest because I've got so many other intentions that are completely crystallized around him being faithful that would never happen. Okay. But if I was to say, oh, well, Andrew's probably going to want pizza for dinner, but then I say, no, I intend that he wants chicken, he's probably going to want pizza because that one is very believable. And like, it's a very dominant thought that he would want pizza over chicken. Do you know what I mean? So, but if I keep, basically say, no, he likes chicken, 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 then, the pizza wouldn't even come up anymore. Okay, do you know what I'm saying? So there is no way to the only way to absolutely stop any negative thought from manifesting is to stop having them, okay, or even stop looking at things as negative, right? So really what it comes down to is not being worried about negative thoughts popping up, because there is no positive or negative. It's just thoughts. Your mind is just going to manifest your thoughts that are dominant and that actually engage. Okay. So, the best way to stop your negative thoughts is to talk yourself out of them by going, okay, well, you know what? It's just not going to happen, and coming to that sort of point where you're like, it's like, well, for instance, with the Andrew and being unfaithful thing, like me, it's like, that's not going to happen ever, right? Because that's who I know him to be after a long period of the belief that he's faithful. So that's how you stop your negative thoughts from manifesting. But don't worry if they do in the meantime, just keep flipping them and you'll see which ones do and which ones don't. Okay. So some of them that do still manifest when you flip them, they will. Okay. Like for instance, right, when there's resistance, right? So when I wanted to move in with Andrew and I kept saying that I intend, he asked me to move in with him for 5 days in a row, I got the opposite. Okay. So even though I was flipping it, okay, because that's resistance and that was a dominant thought that he didn't want to live with me. Okay. So you will get it at first, but you have to keep flipping it. And after you flip it over a long period of time, then it won't actually manifest anymore because you won't even have that negative thought anymore. Okay. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay. So let's see. Oh, Stephanie, there's more. Oh, okay, Stephanie. I'm sorry I missed there was more. There is more. Okay. So I know I already posted a question, but one more. Thank you for understanding. No problem. After having a big manifestation to come to pass, I had a horrible day. Please talk quickly about horrible days. Okay, no problem. I will say that the God State video pulled me out. I know that was a good one. And the mental diet, but I was having to flip thoughts all day long. So I guess the question really is, how does one just prevent these thoughts altogether? Well, I mean, I intend to always think positive. I intend to always feel good. I intend to always have a good day. Okay. But again, it's not really about the prevention. It's about, well, it is. Okay. So how you prevent things is you okay, you basically, for instance, okay, here's a good example. I remember back when me and Andrew first started dating, right? Like we just had this big fight, right? So for like days after the fight, like I was so worried, I was so worried, I was so worried, I was so worried. But as I kept saying to myself, no, you know what? He's forgiving, he's understanding, he's over it, he wants to be with me, he's forgiving, he's understanding. So then now all of a sudden, fast forward 3 years, I mean, that fight's not even in my brain anymore. Okay. So that's how we prevent the thoughts altogether is we focus on what we want so much that what we don't want isn't even in our mind, and we have and focused on what we want so much that it's manifested over and over and over and over again, that what we don't want isn't even a thought. Okay, so again, let's go back to the Andrew and or Gerry being unfaithful like example, like that's not even a crosses my mind, like it's not even there, right? So because the opposite of him being faithful is so ingrained, and that's a belief. Okay, so when you create things as a belief, that's when the other thoughts go away. But I mean, on horrible days, you've just got to keep picking yourself back up. You just got to keep picking yourself back up and keep focusing on what you want. Okay, and you distract yourself as well. Yeah. Oh, did you? There's more. How many times did you post this? Oh, again. Okay. Oh, reacting to my friend and telling me something about my boyfriend the night before. Now my attitude is I manifested a long time ago. It's cleared now and I will not see it again. I am the ball. Okay, does this train of thought clear the reaction that I had to the news I received? Um, so you reacted to a friend telling you something about your boyfriend. Okay. So basically, let's see here. So yeah, I mean, as long as basically maybe they got the information incorrect. Yeah, it manifested a long time ago. It's cleared now. I'll never see it again. And start affirming the opposite of whatever he did. Okay, to affirm the opposite of whatever he did is going to be the important part there. Okay, so yeah, yeah, okay. Oh, he stays with me just to not hurt me. Okay, so you need to actually change your story about him, Stephanie, to he actually wants to be with you and that he stays with you because you make him happy. Okay, so you really need to start reaffirming that. Okay, and so write a list of what you want him to feel and think about you, and he will. Okay, so we're on to Manali's question. Awesome. And I know you've been putting some questions in the chat here, Manali. I'll read those in a sec. So 3840. I'll put it here just in case you want to know for later, because now I'm in the habit of that. So I've just commented that there, answered your question. So we'll answer this one, then we'll dive into those. So I'm so happy you're feeling less resistance towards your SP after the last time I answered your questions. It's excellent. So I have two questions for you. I was practicing self-love, basically techniques like shamanic tapping, Ho'oponopono, affirmations, and like taking out myself for dates. Yeah, I love that. Just in order for my manifestation to come to me. I am actually like a small kid hiding behind the door, practicing self-love techniques and sneak out from behind that. Well, is it working? Well, sometimes it does work, and then when I actually involve into that, but as soon as I come back to routine, which is coming back from dates, coming back from a salon, I get caught in my 3D. Okay, well, you've got to start getting on top of it in those moments where you start getting caught up in the 3D. That's the important part. You can do intentions like all week long, but as soon as you get caught up in the 3D, that's really when you need to do intentions and stay on top of your thoughts. Okay, that's what the mental diet is. It's talking yourself out of those moments when you're getting caught up in the 3D. For practicing self-love, what can be done, which is not superficial, where you focus on self-love for you and not in order to get something. I don't think it's so superficial to practice self-love to get something at all. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have things in your life, okay? Like nothing wrong at all. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a billionaire. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be loved, okay? Basically because the way that our brains are set up, right? We're constantly wired to continually want, create, create, create. And our brain puts us in a place of feeling inferior to give us that drive. So every time we want something, we have to create that we're good enough to have it. Okay. So you can also practice self love, which just I love myself, but loving yourself isn't going to change a story of thinking you're not good enough to have something. Okay. So I would take a look at this story that it's superficial to do self love in order to get something, because there's nothing wrong with wanting and having things in your life. One of my biggest blocks when I was younger was thinking that it was wrong for me to want things in my life. If I was going to be this spiritual person, then I wasn't allowed to be, rich and want to be rich. It wasn't allowed to, do anything that I wanted to do. And then I had to be like this perfect person that didn't wear any makeup, that didn't date anybody, that was basically a monk with no money. And I was something, and I was like, well, wait a minute, if I'm this creator in my world, why can't I have what I want? Why can't I be rich? Why can't I help people and do what I love every day? Why do I have to be miserable? What, me being miserable? What does that prove, right? So, it's not superficial to practice self love in order to get something. I mean, you have to say that you're worthy to get things. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, let's see. What else did you write here? Um, so, oh, you took your messages out. Oh, okay. Um, anyway, okay, so I had some realizations that I'm actually not appreciating smaller success. Like, I am intending for better communication since a week, and as a result, my communication is increasing. Oh, I love that. You're doing so good. I've always been a hardworking child who gets things only when I made efforts for um, and that's the what and that's why I feel like I'm lacking somewhere in manifesting my specific person. I always feel like an urge to do LOA things, and I can't sit idle. I feel like I don't know whether I'm doing it correctly or doing it enough, which gives me the big thing with that's my SP. So what's your take on this and how do you deal with it? Okay, so basically, I mean, your thoughts create. Okay, so you have to always stay on top of your thoughts. That's, and stop reacting. And I think reacting is one of the big things, and also changing your story about him. Okay, so you can never do too much, but maybe stop questioning and start saying what I'm doing is just enough. What I'm doing is perfect amount. Okay. And how do I make sure that my manifestation is on my way? Because everybody says that don't ask the when and how, it portrays lack. My question is not lack question, it's how to be sure that the GPS where I set on my journey is going that way. I don't want to beat around the bush, because there's no correct way or mathematical formula to do this, which gives us the definite answer. Well, okay, so the thing is, right, is you want to come from the assumption that it's happening and it's happening now, because you choose to see whether it's happening or happening now. I'm going to use an example from my Gerry's Adventures channel. If you see me and Andrew on that channel, you see us interacting and having a great time. You guys would have no idea that I've mentioned that I want to get married, and Andrew has mentioned that he is not interested. You would not even know that was even a thing that even happened between us, because I live in the assumption that it is going to happen. When he said that, I would thought to myself, okay, you're just not ready. Okay, that's it. No problem. I intend for him to be over his baggage and ready to get married. I'm living in the assumption that that's going to happen. Okay. So am I questioning when it's going to happen? No. Am I looking at the how it's going to happen? Well, no, because I know it's going to happen. And every time I think about it, I create an intention that it is going to happen. Okay. So do you see how I'm not resisting my current reality? I'm enjoying and relaxed in my current reality with the assumption that it's going to happen, with the trust that my thoughts do create. And all the while, I'm planning this like amazing like proposal in the middle of Whistler, BC, in the snow, right? When we're having this nice dinner in this like restaurant with a fireplace there, and then the hotel with like the pool and the hot tub. And I know this hotel I want to go to has got an outdoor pool and hot tub, and we were in it when it was snowing before, like a couple of years ago. So like that's all where it's going to happen. But do you see what I'm saying? Is we have to start believing it's here and it's here now and it's going to happen. Okay. So that's my take on, knowing that your manifestation is on its way. You're the only one that creates your manifestation. Nobody's delivering your manifestation to you. You're creating it by assuming it's going to happen. Okay. So if we're saying, when is it going to come? Where am I? How do I know? Where's the signs? There is none. Are you choosing to think it's going to happen and assume it's going to happen? Or are you questioning where it is? Okay. If we're questioning where it is, then we're not living from the end of it actually happening. Okay. Because everything that your specific person does, even if they tell you they had toast in the morning for breakfast, you have to make that mean that they want to be with you. Okay. So let's move on to the next question here. Oh, you did repost a question in the chat. Oh, I saw. Okay, I love you too, Manali. You're amazing. I think you were in one of the courses once. I'm pretty sure. I remember 46 minutes in. Okay, 46, and this is the next question here. So, and guys, just give me one sec here. I'm so sorry. The 2:30, 3:30. So 2:30, 3:30, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, 3:30. Sorry, hold on a second here. 3:30, 3:30. Ooh, no. 4:35, 2:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 3:30, 4:35. No. Okay. So sorry about that. And now the next question is, 80 is, I can't say that. Okay. So, hi, Amanda. Specifically related to a specific person, is it better to set up small manifestations or live from the end and getting the relationship you want from them? How do you work through partial manifestations? Okay, I love this question. Okay, guys. So all your smaller manifestations are living from the end. Okay. So I remember back when I first learned LOA that there was this misunderstanding that living in the end was basically like sitting around my living room and like basically imagining Andrew there watching TV with me and like pretending he was like basically like, in the kitchen with me. And like, I think even one feng shui person said, oh, we'll sit and eat at the table and set a plate for him. It was like, and I did this, and I also cleaned out half my closet for him, as well as made like a nightstand that was empty for him, and like made room for him physically in my life. Okay. So the thing was, though, is that was living in the end, but I wasn't living from the end because I was still questioning why he wasn't with me, why he didn't like me, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So basically, right, living from the end, okay, is if I was in a relationship with so and so, what would my thoughts be? Well, would you basically go out on dates? Absolutely. So manifest the date. Would he call you every day? Yes. Manifest the text messages, the phone calls. Would he tell you you're wonderful and how much he loves being with you? Absolutely. So all of your small manifestations are living from the end and getting into the relationship that you want. Okay. Every single one of them. Okay. I remember I heard once somebody told me, well, you know what, if you manifest the little things like a phone call or, a date, then you're messing with the middle. Funny thing was, is I looked at Andrew and I said, well, technically we're not supposed to be together. And he says, why? I said, because I manifested every date, every phone call, and every encounter that we had because I was living from the end. If I was in a relationship with this guy, what would I do? I invited him for dinner every single night over to my house. And then eventually we moved in together because, if we were living together, yeah, we'd have dinner together every night. So darn right, I invited him over for dinner every night, right? If we were in a relationship together, we would talk every day. So yeah, I texted him and manifested that he would text me back. So you're building a relationship, okay? And all these little tiny manifestations are going to get you to believe that this person wants to be with you. Okay. So keep doing those little tiny manifestations. Get them to go on your social media, like stuff, comment, get them to message you, get them to come over, hang out with them, spend time with them, start making yourself believe that this person wants to be with you. So all the small little manifestations are living from the end. How do you work your partial manifestations? Okay, so basically with partial manifestations, I take that as feedback from my reality because the thing is you want to know what's programmed into your subconscious mind, just look at your reality out there. Okay, so partial manifestation shows you that, for instance, something's going on. So let's say you say, well, I intend for my SP to text me and tell me that he misses me. Okay, your SP texts you and tells you he has toast for dinner and he did not tell you he missed you. Okay, that tells you right there that you got your text message, but you didn't get him saying that he misses you. That's because you have a block there. So what you do is you take a look at that and you think to yourself, well, why didn't he say he misses me? Oh, because I don't think he forgives me. Okay, well, I intend that he forgives me and he misses me and tells me that. So all you do is when you get the opposite in your reality is you just acknowledge it, renounce it, create the exact opposite intention. Okay, so that's how we deal with partial manifestations. So our next question here is 5032. Wait, 32. Okay. So I got to get through all of these questions on here before I answer any more on the live chat. Okay, guys, because let's see how many more. We've got a few more to go. Okay. And I do have some appointments this afternoon. So, okay. Amrani, question. So I'm the guy that's used subliminals for 2 years and changed my parents. But but unfortunately, I got a lot of negative and opposite results. Since 1 year, I'm trying to reverse it, but nothing worked, it only got worse. In contrast to others, I've come to these teachings because I want to know everything about the subconscious mind so I can finally understand it and reverse it. Let's assume that all that happened to me because I had a negative opinion about subliminals. I'm just going to say right now, that's exactly what happened. Okay. That's 100% it. Okay. And that's why my subconscious mind serves me that. Yes, exactly. Your subconscious mind is a servant to you. It doesn't dominate. It doesn't do anything that you don't tell it to do. There's no such thing as, subconsciously sabotaging something. No, you've consciously sabotaged it and your subconscious mind has definitely manifested it for you. Okay. Your subconscious mind serves you and your conscious mind is the one that's driving the bus. Okay. So let's assume that it's all happened to me because I had a negative. Yeah, that's true. Okay. So I'm sick of it waking up. I'm sick of it waking up and seeing new sabotaging changing on my face without listening to subliminals. It's so crazy because I stopped listening to subliminals since months and I'm still waking up with new negative changes every day. Okay, so that story's got to change. You got to say, I'm waking up and my body's going back to the way it was. I constantly love the way that I look every day. Okay. I understand that my subconscious mind overhears my thoughts constantly. It does. Okay. I understand that the problem lies within, with your conscious thoughts. Okay. So this is the old story. Now I do not want it. All I want is to look exactly how I used to look before I used my first subliminal. Great. That's your intention. I intend to look exactly how I used to before I used my first subliminal. Okay. All I need is an affirmation list that I can repeat every day. I truly believe that I could be, do, and have anything I want. And if my subconscious mind is God, then it should know exactly how I looked and give my original looking. Yeah, it will, but you've got to intend that it does that. Okay. The problem is every time I affirm it, the resistance gets stronger and I get more of the negative ones. Okay. So resistance or thoughts. So I'm not sure what resistance you're talking about here. Okay. There has to be a way to get what I want, and I'm not good at giving up. I don't want to visualize or concentrate on the specific body parts because I don't know how I looked before exactly. I want to use general statements. That should be possible too, right? Is it possible to infer my intent exactly how I used to? Yes, I said that earlier. Or how would you use statements to get your parents back that you've lost through subliminals and all of the sabotaging effects? Okay, well, again, if you have an old picture, I intend to look like I did in that picture. That also works. Could you give me some affirmations that I can embody and getting success with? What affirmations would you use if this happened to you and is still happening to you? What would you do if your original parent to get your original parents back? I need a reset button. Okay. So I'm going to be perfectly honest. The best thing to do is to write down all of your complaints. Okay. These are going to give you the most powerful affirmations. Okay. Write down all your complaints about this. Okay. So for instance, the changes keep happening. That's a complaint that you have. I can't remember how I looked. So, you want to change that too. You know what? Every day I change back to look the way I used to when I was this years old. I can't stop, I can't remember how I used to look. I do remember how I used to look, and my body is, basically every day changing back into that. Okay. So you take those complaints, change them into your positive intentions, read those intentions constantly. Okay, now the complaints about the entire story. I mean, I can give you intentions, but my intentions that I give you aren't going to be the powerful ones, because the most powerful ones are the ones that are the exact opposite of your complaints. Okay. You've created this with your thoughts. So we've got to change your thoughts to get you out of it. Okay. So it's, you can say, look at, what, I absolutely love myself. Okay. But that affirmation isn't going to get you into a relationship with somebody if you don't think the person likes you. Okay. So that's the same idea with your affirmations to get your body back to where you want it to be. So, I am getting my original parents back. I am resetting my brain to get my original parents back. Okay. So you start giving your subconscious mind orders of what you want it to do. So I've given a lot of affirmations in there, pardon me, but I think the most important one is that I intend to look at the way it looks at conscious mind to reverse all the effects of the subliminals, right? Okay. Yeah, so we did Stephanie Ann's there, and Courtney's is next. So 56 minutes here, 56. Okay, so do you have any tips with ignoring your current reality when I work with my SP? I've been seeing the complete opposite, and there's been no communication at all between us. I'm doing my best to use the law of assumption and tell myself it's part of the bridge of events that's making our relationship stronger, but some days my emotional reaction gets out of hand. Okay, so what I think you're saying here, Courtney, is it's bothering you that, basically there's no communication. What needs to change is how you're looking at the no communication. Basically, if you were to say to yourself, well, look at, what, he's not talking to me because he's busy working, but he'll talk to me later. Okay. Like, you've got to stop making, him not talking to you mean that there's something wrong with you. Like, why is this causing you to react? Is it because you think he doesn't want to be with you? Then, if whatever the thought is that's causing you to emotionally react, you've got to change that thought, change your perception of the situation. Right. So, for instance, I mean, I work all day. I don't talk to Andrew all day. So, he's like, oh, she's working. She wants to be with me. She's just busy working. So that doesn't make him upset. But I mean, if Gerry was to sit here and go, oh, she's ignoring me because she's working all day, she doesn't want to be with me. Well, then, yeah, he's going to get really upset fast. So how can you change, your perception on that situation to not make it so upsetting? Okay. So we've got Rose's question here at 5733. So 57, no, 33. So we've got, okay. So I've manifested a very unwanted situation in my job. I thought things were better last week in terms of negotiating an agreement, and they sent me an argument that that's almost the worst case scenario. I really don't know what thoughts I'm having that are creating this, except that I do occasionally think that I might need to hire a lawyer to get myself out of this, but I don't really believe that or want it. And I've been able to successfully negotiate my way out of things before. Excellent. However, they are literally throwing things in that were not discussed and that are extremely damaging to me. This has been continual. It has to be done now, sort of situation. So I feel a lot of time pressure. I know at one hand it's not real, however, ignoring it's not a long-term solution. No, we need to start focusing on what you want, okay? Like, absolutely what you want. And, basically creating a script that you get exactly what you want. So, you know what? One thing you can do is write out, a mock in contract that you want them to give you, just, one that's almost just like the one you want them, and read it and say, okay, and write everything in there that you want. And, even write a letter. This is to, Rose, and this is what we're prepared to offer you. And, and that's a form of scripting, right? So what do you do in these situations when you manifested something unwanted? Is there a way to turn it around when it seems completely hopeless? There is. Start focusing on what you want. Okay. Absolutely 100% remind yourself that you're God and start focusing on what you want. So obviously, this is not one individual, but an entire organization. So, it doesn't matter if it's one person or an entire organization. Everyone is you pushed out. So you would just be changing how people feel about you, as like how the organization feels about you as a whole, right? Would it be better just to give up because whatever I'm doing seems to be worse? That's completely up to you. That's 100% up to your choice. The thing is you don't have to fix things. It's a choice. I've gotten plenty of things that I've walked away from that I wasn't happy with To be honest, I worked at a huge corporate job before I, started my own company. I was absolutely miserable at that job. It wasn't good. I didn't end on very good terms. And yeah, you know what? Like, but am I looking back? No. I mean, I'm happy now. So, I mean, for instance, there's relationships I've walked away from. Like, Andrew's not my first boyfriend. I've made messes of those relationships, walked away. So you don't need to absolutely 100% fix something, right? It's up to you what you want to do. Um, so if I hire a lawyer, isn't that just buying into the whole story and giving it energy? Well, no, not if you think that a lawyer is going to fix it, right? So again, right, there's nothing wrong with saying, look, you know what, I'm going to do this, and that's just going to work. I remember one time, like we in Canada, we have this thing called employment insurance, and I got fired. Well, I didn't really get fired from the job; I quit it. But I wasn't supposed to get employment insurance for quitting this job. So the first woman denied me, but then I said to myself, no, I'm going to appeal, and they're going to give it to me because I know that there's a loophole that I can get it. So I appealed, and guess what? I ended up getting the employment insurance. Okay. So, if you're going to make and get a lawyer, you've got to have the story that the lawyer is going to work. And that's what's going to get you out of this. So that's totally fine. You can 100% create that. Okay. You don't have to, like I said earlier in the call, just create it, like that everyone changes their mind right now. You can create that. Getting a lawyer is going to make the shift that you need, and it's going to help you to get what you want. Absolutely. Okay. That's just working within your belief system within the 3D world, which is totally fine. However, if I believe that that's my only way of protecting myself, then I should follow through on it. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I said. Right. So, but you are manifesting consciously because you've manifested consciously that a lawyer will help you get out of this. So you've actually manifested that consciously. So, because that's a belief that you have, right? So is this really serious? This is really serious. No, I believe it is. Normally I do everything energetically, but I'm not sure how to turn this around while I'm in it. Okay, well, even like I said, hiring a lawyer and intending that the lawyer is going to turn it around is still doing it energetically, because you can manifest the lawyer being useless and wasting your money on it, right? So, guys, like when you create things that, you're going to do, like I manifested getting better, and I manifested, like the surgery happening to do it instead of shrinking what I needed to have out. I mean, I still manifested getting better. Okay. I manifested the doctors to even be there to do that. Okay. So, yeah, it's not that, we have to do things without, pulling other things in on our 3D world to help us. I mean, for instance, I'm going to manifest like a Tesla. Now, I still need to go to a car dealership to manifest that Tesla. It's not like I can energetically manifest the Tesla in my driveway without going to any dealership, right? You know what I mean? Because you've manifested the dealership too. So again, you've done it energetically, right? So, yeah. So sort of feel the same way about my specific person, in that I don't feel like this isn't the life I signed up for, or the life he promised, or anything that he promised me. Okay, you pushed out, you created this. As long as you're blaming what's going on him, then unfortunately things aren't going to change. Okay, so we got to start taking responsibility with it and start working through it. Okay. So I feel discouraged because of the situation, about my job and other areas of my life, even though I'm manifesting small things. Well, yeah, I mean, if we're going to constantly put the power into other people and say, well, they've created that, you know, um, if we're going to take a look and we're going to say, well, other people have created this and they put me in this position and they've done this and they've done that. The problem with that is we can't change it, because now they've got to change in order for us to change our lives. So we've got to take responsibility for what's showing up in our life. Okay. No, I'm not saying we have to blame ourselves and beat ourselves up over it, but take responsibility for it and change what we need to change in order to make things happen for ourselves. Okay. So 104. 1 hour and 4 minutes. There. Okay, so this other one. Thanks so much for answering the question and providing live calls. You're welcome. I have a similar question to the one posted above. Is it okay from live from the end and let things unfold, or do I have to manifest each stop along the way? No, you can say, look, I'm living from the end, but if you're living in the end or from the end, you're automatically manifesting each step along the way. Okay. I can hold a vision of and a mental diet more easily when I think about the end, but I have more resistance around setting up smaller intentions. Okay, you can't avoid that resistance, though that resistance is thoughts and feelings, and those thoughts and feelings have to be what you have to be aware of them, and you have to talk yourself out of them. Okay, because guess what, if you've got resistance to making a phone call or intending that he phones you, then that's going to block the marriage from happening. Okay, so resistance isn't something we avoid. Resistance is something that we have to face and we have to break down. Resistance is actual thoughts, feelings. Okay, so um so what individual goal steps to set? Okay, so basically you want to do things like, what are you guys going to do? So if you're in a relationship together, what would you guys do? Now, all those things that you guys would do together and how your life would be, those are the things you want to do. So would you eat dinner together every day? Would you see each other every weekend? Would you go to the movies together? What would you guys do when you were together? Those are the little intentions you want to set. What do you want to hear him say to you? How do you want your relationship to progress? Okay, because let's be honest, okay, this is when it comes to manifesting somebody, it's not done any differently than relationships were done before you even learned about manifesting, because you've always been manifesting. So what happens is you meet somebody, you start talking, maybe you go on a date. After a few dates, they start coming over every day. After they come over every day, you think, wow, you're never leaving, maybe you like me. Then you move in together. Then after you move in together, then you get married. Or you see each other every day, then you get married, then you move in together. Whatever you order you do it in, it's steps that you take throughout the whole entire thing. So the thing is, right, is if you've got a lot of resistance to going out on a date with them or even hanging out with them every day, and you're just going straight to marriage, guess what? That resistance right there with the dating or being together every day is going to block the marriage. Okay, you have to have zero resistance when it comes to what you're manifesting. Okay, we did Stephanie Ann's questions. Okay, so 106 for this one, 106 for Denise's question. So, Denise's question. So, my quick questions. Here are my quick questions. I'll say them really fast. When it comes to revision, should we accept what our SP told us if negative and revise it, or pretend it's an illusion and it never happened at all? Revise it. Revise it. For instance, right? Like, okay, so if somebody says to me, like, look at, you know what? I don't even want to be with you anymore, right? I would be like, okay, look, they didn't mean that. They were just upset. I would somehow brush it off to be not a big deal. Okay. So revise it. Or, you know what? You can also pretend it's an illusion and that it never really happened. Like I do that. I'm like, okay, like whatever, I created it. Like, okay, I don't even care. And then I'll create the exact opposite intention. So you can't really ignore it. You have to, if you're going to pretend it's an illusion, you still have to acknowledge it and renounce it, meaning create the exact opposite intention. Okay. So whichever way you want to do it, completely up to you. I mean, some people can't pretend it's an illusion. It's easier for them to say, oh, they didn't mean it. They were just upset. Right. And so I don't want to repeat the old story, but either way, it wasn't ideal and it was hurtful. After speaking with Megan, I firmly want to believe none of it even matters and I create the reality. In terms of my third party in long distance, I'm the one that needs to believe it's not an obstacle for him too, right? Yeah, yeah. Everyone is you pushed out. Okay, so basically, third party. Okay, how did you create them? So I'm good enough. I'm the only one for him. He wants to be with me. Long distance isn't an issue. In fact, he's making plans to move near me. Okay, so basically, Denise, what we've got here is you need to bring yourself up with confidence, self love, affirmations about you being good enough, about him wanting to be with you. Okay. And then you also need to create the story, all of you guys do, about your specific person. They're good enough. They want me. They're amazing. I'm the only one for them. Okay. And then basically, you also want to bridge that gap. Like, you know what? He wants to be with me. I want to be with him. He's going to move to be with me. He's going to give up everything and find a better job just to be close to me. Like, really start telling you guys yourselves that you are good enough to have what you want. Okay. And that, it's okay. Now, as far as when somebody says something mean, right? Or that's hurtful. For instance, Andrew told me at one point that he didn't want to live with me. And I was hurt at first. I was like, what's wrong with me? But as soon as I realized that there was nothing wrong with me, I'm perfect. I just created him to have baggage. And he would have said that to anybody. And then all of a sudden I went, oh, I don't have to take this personally. So, when people say things that are maybe mean, we can chalk it up to, okay, maybe they've got baggage, or maybe they don't mean it. Maybe they're just upset right now and they said something they don't mean. Okay, so start looking at it from the other person's point of view rather than making it mean something bad about yourself. Okay, because you're perfect. Okay, just because you created someone with baggage, and I know we create someone with baggage, and then all of a sudden that baggage shows up and they don't want something with us because they've got baggage, and then all of a sudden we make it personal and we feel like we're rejected. And all we did was create the other person with baggage, right? So, once we take out that making it mean something about us, we can go back and look at them and see, okay, I've created you with baggage. I intend for you to be over your baggage and ready for a relationship. Okay. So, guys, I got a few minutes. I'll read a few of the questions here. Yeah, Tammy, definitely continue to intend that they're polite, kind, loving, caring. Um, you know, and yes, that manifestation will drown out your old beliefs. And please don't react to them when they do show up that way. Definitely. So, yeah, and answer. I hope you answers from the live chat too. I think I did answer. Oh, wait, here we go. Oh, I found it. Okay, the live chat. We've got more here. Okay, so we did Tammy's, right? You and to recreate qualities in both. Oh, but then I'd like to recreate qualities in both. Um, yeah, you can recreate both, you guys, right? No, Tammy, you're incredible. Okay, here we go. Manali, question. Well, I intended for my SP to meet me today. I scripted to last night, but he didn't ask. I got a little down. And then afterwards, I messaged him. He told me that I had a really busy day. Well, should I see things? Okay, my question is that I should see the things every time, though manifesting lens, or be logical sometimes in the 3D. Take with your manifestation or instant manifestations. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Okay, so obviously you had a thought in the back of your mind that he had a really, really busy day and he wasn't going to. Okay. And that one was obviously a more dominant thought than him asking you to go out somewhere. Okay. So what you do is remember that your 3D world right now is like reflection. It's all delayed from your previous thoughts. Okay. So then don't react to it, right? And say, no, no, you know what? He is going to ask me out. We are going to go out, and you keep your eye on the prize of what you want. Okay. So the manifesting lens and logical have to be one and the same. So somehow you're going to have to put that together. For me, right, logical, my thoughts create everyone is me pushed out, focus on what I want. That's logical to me. Okay. So what's the difference between manifesting lens and a logical lens? Okay, so that's where that's where you're getting your conflict. They've got to be one and the same. Okay, so manifesting has to be your logical thinking. Okay, because what is it, rejection if you're thinking logically, and it's actually like to like ignore it if you're manifesting. you know I mean, let's be logical. The guy had a busy day. He wasn't rejecting you, and those are your previous thoughts, and keep on what him asking you to go out with you. Does that make sense? Yeah. So so let's see here. So would it be all right to give you an example of recreating, just see if you're on the right path? So say you have someone who is quite strong personality. Oh yeah, okay, no, you're right. I answered that question without answering the first one there. Yeah, so awesome, guys. Those are all the questions that were in that one spot there. Thank you guys so much for coming. And yeah, so I hope you guys all enjoy this. And so any other questions at all quickly? I've got another appointment here soon in a few minutes, but I've answered all your questions, and I intend everybody got something from that, and I intend that everybody feels good and has felt like there's something else that they've pinpointed that they can work on. And remember, guys, when you start seeing what your blocks are, be excited, because When you see your blocks, that's an opportunity that you get to change something. When I make a declaration for something and I realize that I've got a block, I get so excited because, yes, it's not a problem. It's like, okay, I'm going to get past that block and I'm going to get closer to my goal. It's a game. You're always going to have blocks when you go to create something. Don't be scared of them. Don't be scared of your negative thoughts. It's just about focusing on what you want. And the less deal we make our negative thoughts, the less they actually end up coming up, and the more we're just focused on what we want. Okay. You guys are all amazing. And thank you for being part of the Patreon. And we'll see you next week. Okay. Bye bye.